Inside the Secret Life of Viktor Hovland. If we think about golf players that will write history in the next 20 years, we can't find a way around Viktor Hovland. At only 24 years old, he's already shown the world numerous times that he may be one of the world's greatest players of all time. Today we'll take a deep look into his biography, lifestyle, and net worth. Let's get right into it. His early years. When the European Boys Team Championship took place in Scotland in 2013, Cowboys coach Alan Bratton was there to help fill the pool. A chubby 5'6" kid with an untucked shirt and Oakley blade sunglasses who attended the same high school in Oslo, Norway, as Ventura couldn't take his eyes away from the young Norwegian. In the beginning, Viktor was a little soft and used an unusual looking swing, but that swing was repeated, and I enjoyed the way he competed. A miracle occurred when Hovland was still in high school and had the opportunity to swing a golf club. In the previous year, his father, Harold, had worked as a visiting engineer on a construction project in St. Louis, and he had purchased a set of golf clubs to pass the time at a nearby practice range while on his way to the office. When the year was up, he returned to Norway with a junior set of clubs for his son to try out, and by the age of 11, Viktor had made the decision to become a professional golfer. A transplanted Australian, James McGowan, has been teaching in Norway's Drøbak Golf Club for more than 2 decades. The Hovlands entrusted Viktor's embryonic game to him. Hovland's insatiable curiosity for knowledge and his unwavering work ethic distinguished him from the start. Also, make sure to write your thoughts on his beginnings in the comment section. As Hovland's popularity grew, there was a corresponding explosion in the number of digital golf coaching personalities on every social media platform, from Instagram to Twitter to YouTube to Facebook. George Gankas turned his social media following, which included 250,000 Instagram followers, into real-world work and tour players like Wolf and a spot on Golf Digest's list of the world's 50 best teachers. Hovland was at ease in the world from the beginning, and he quickly learned how to avoid ingesting too much information from the information fire hose. If you wanted the most out of it, that meant frequent visits to the golf information buffet, where you could pick up grip adjustment tips from tour legends while also listening to recorded lectures from sports scientists and about the importance of understanding moments of inertia. However, by the time Hovland was in his second year at Oklahoma State in 2017, his variables had begun to fluctuate, and he was having difficulty digesting the remote coaching he was receiving from Denny Lucas, a Florida-based coach he had discovered on Instagram. It had become difficult for Hovland to maintain control of his ball flight, and he was having difficulty holding greens with his long irons. During Bratton's All-American senior year in 1995, legendary Ohio State coach Mike Holder might have sent Bratton, the player, out to hit a few more buckets of practice balls, but Bratton, the coach, had to take a more modern approach. Stick around to the end of the video to find out how his career developed from that point on. Becoming a star. The element of fear, or the absence of it, is what distinguishes players like Hovland, Wolf, Morikawa, and Bryson DeChambeau from one another. They went into the tour with the expectation of winning because they had witnessed their peers succeed. DeChambeau finished second in the Australian Masters as an amateur in 2015 and tied for 4th in his professional debut at the Hilton Head International in 2016. Wolf won the 2019 NCAA Individual Championship in May and the PGA Tour's prestigious Tour Championship in July. During the following month's 4, 5, and 6 starts, Morikawa went T2, T4, and won. With the help of a Ping equipment deal, Hovland finished 12th as an amateur in the 2019 US Open and walked away with $1 million. He then went to win the 2019 Travelers Championship the following week, becoming the first Canadian to do so. In Hovland, the transition into professional golf only reinforced the same drive that had transformed his body from chunky to chiseled, as well as confirmed the validity of the personal swing experiments he conducts on a regular basis. Hovland's winning streak in Puerto Rico was fruitful in more ways than one, including the $540,000 check. On Sunday, he dropped 2 chips in the 11th hole, resulting in a triple bogey and exposing the realization he shared with the entire world in the interview after saving the day with his putter earlier in the round. Bratton believes that Hovland's openness and willingness to judge his game objectively distinguish him as a virtual unicorn in the world of professional golf. He had one of the best driving weeks anyone has ever had, in my opinion. The following week, he was in Hartford, where he was attempting the double pump technique on a couple of holes. The fact that he has the confidence to do so demonstrates who he is. With his short game shortcomings in mind, Hovland set out to correct them. Before the COVID quarantine took effect, Hovland worked with legendary coach Peter Cohen, who has worked with players such as Brooks Koepka and Gary Woodland on improving their short game, to improve his ability to use the bounce on his wedges more effectively. Hovland was able to control the loft of his shots more precisely by sliding the club rather than digging it, and the club was less prone to digging in comparison to the situation in Puerto Rico. By the way, do you think he's one of the greatest golf players of all time? Let us know in the comment section down below. The work, as well as the forced downtime that occurred when the tour was suspended in March, provided Hovland with time that he describes as being reminiscent of when he was 12 years old. When everything revolved around playing golf for fun and searching for answers on the internet, the search led him to some of the online material created by Jeff Smith, a Las Vegas-based instructor who works with several young tour players out of TPC Summerlin, including Aaron Wise and Patrick Rogers. Given the fact that Smith and Hovland knew each other through mutual friends, Hovland felt confident in reaching out to ask if Smith would be willing to watch some video of his swing. In his analysis of Hovland's swing, Smith identified the elements that he believed worked together to produce his elite ball striking and told Hovland that he didn't believe he needed to make any significant changes. In typical Hovland fashion, students and coaches met in person for the first time in Boston prior to the first round of the FedEx Cup playoffs because, after all, there's no better time than the present to get to know each other better. When you spend even a single day with a tight-knit Oklahoma State golf fraternity, it's easy to see why Hovland was adamant about not spending his money to relocate to Orlando, Jupiter, Dallas, or any of the other popular tour player hotspots. Craston Creek is being built into a connective tissue of players who have been involved with the program since its inception, including memorabilia, donations, and time. The constant stream of players returning for Pokes football games, Pro-AM fundraisers, and for no other reason than to chat with other players and pass on some institutional knowledge. Before we jump into his lifestyle and wealth, be sure to subscribe for more golf content. Let's get into the secrets of Hovland's star life. Hovland's satisfaction with his life in Stillwater is evident, and a home is one of the few things he's purchased with the money he's earned from tournaments. If you didn't know who he was, you'd think he was still a student, which is exactly what happened. When Hovland first arrived at the university, he rented a room from teammate Austin Eckroth's parents, who had purchased the property in order to keep an eye on their son, who lived in nearby Edmond. Eckroth now resides at Hovland's residence, and the two of them spend the majority of COVID spring and summer living golf's version of Groundhog Day. Within the confines of the golf course, Hovland used his time to experiment with various diets, even going so far as to intermittent fast. He eventually settled on a regimen that is a cross between a professional athlete and a recent college student. Panera Bread takeout interspersed with 2 giant fruit smoothies and an endless bowl of popcorn. Despite his Scandinavian heritage, Hovland does not consume alcohol in the manner of Europeans. He'll go out once in a blue moon and it'll be one of the best nights of his life, but after a couple of drinks, he'll be a complete liability. Furthermore, it's estimated that Viktor Hovland's net worth will be approximately $4 million by the year 2022. The majority of his earnings come from his successful professional golfing career. By season, the Norwegian golfer earned more than $1.9 million in 2019-2020 season and another $1.8 million in the 2020-2021 season, according to his earnings breakdown. Hovland also receives a substantial sum of money from his sponsors on top of everything mentioned above. He has signed equipment agreements with Ping as well as apparel agreements with Jay Lindeberg. Check out Tiger Woods' lifestyle and net worth here. See you there.